Hey people, it is Thursday, April the 27th. The time is 5:22 in the afternoon, and it's currently 11 degrees Celsius. And I'm here overlooking the athletic field at Varsity Stadium at the U of T campus. There's not a whole lot going on at the moment. I'm going to make my way to Bloor Street, which is just right up here, and then west for a block or so to St. George. And then I'll walk north along St. George to where it ends at Davenport Road. And from there I'll walk along Davenport Road in a southeasterly direction as it winds its way down towards Yonge Street. We're just temporarily walking west into the sun as it gets lower in the sky. That won't be a problem once we turn north onto St. George. Let's see if I can make it across before that light changes. And I'll look east.
This is like my boyfriend. And I'm like, I am not fucking.
There we go. Much shadier here. And we're at the later stages of rush hour here. I think rush hours start around 3 o'clock in Toronto and go on to around 7 p.m. So maybe we're more like in the midway point. Yeah, this is St. George subway station. So once you go north of Bloor Street, you're not technically on the University of Toronto campus any longer, but this area is obviously filled with students and professors. St. George Street in particular is lined with many mid and high-rise apartment buildings. Yes, looking east into the Yorkville neighborhood. I recently saw this proposal in the media. This older 1950s era apartment building, slated to be redeveloped with a 29-story tower. And you see more of that sort of thing happening in Toronto every year, where already existing sizable apartment buildings, some of them high rises in their own right, are torn down to make way for a taller high rise. Imagine the rents for a one-bedroom apartment in some of these buildings are a little on the high side, given the neighborhood and location, even if the buildings themselves are rather old. But the units tend to be quite large in the older buildings and very solidly constructed, much better soundproofing. And you have the pre-existing old homes that made up the neighborhood. This one is now a fraternity house. And it had the classic Annex turret. You'll find those styles are quite prevalent in this neighborhood. This is another fraternity house here.
Et là, je les ai eus le 4 ou 5 avril.
And this apartment building across the street popping up looks strikingly similar to two other apartment buildings on the east side of downtown, one of which I live in. Has the same overall design, around the same height. The only difference is the one I live in, the balconies were eventually enclosed and reverted back to living space inside the unit, whereas this one still has the balconies as their own separate thing, obviously. Finally, the sun goes behind the building. This is sort of like one of a set of triplets, you could say. The other one is so close to my building that I can see it out my window. And there you can see the CN Tower off in the distance. But as to this building here, I can guarantee that the rents in this one are far higher than the rents are in the other two in my neighborhood. I know my rent is extremely low by Toronto standards. but I have been living in that building for going on 13 years now with rent control, so that has a lot to do with that. The sun feels very strong today, even at only 11 degrees. When you're walking through a non-shady area, you can really feel the warmth of the sun. I think that woman was actually sunbathing there on the front lawn. And here's where St. George ends at DuPont. I said Davenport earlier, but Davenport does branch off of DuPont very shortly. And that's the street I'll be taking. And lots of traffic looking west along DuPont. As I mentioned, rush hour is still well underway. And here's Davenport Road. I'm just wondering if I should go to the other side of the street. Maybe I'll walk along this side for now and then I'll cross further down. Trying to maximize the skyline view as I walk towards the heart of downtown. And you see lots of Leafs jerseys around town right now, given the current situation with the playoffs. I think there's a big game tonight, actually. I don't really follow hockey myself, but even I can't escape the hype right now. And there are many projects taking place along both Davenport Road and DuPont Street in this area, with new mid-rise housing being built all along large stretches of both streets, with some high-rise dabbled in here and there. I don't know if dabbled was the right word to use there. And most of them are quite nice, as you can see here. Very upscale buildings. What they lack in height, they make up for in price. So here's where you lose the skyline view, so I'm going to cross the street as we continue on. If I can make it across here. There's the Yorkville skyline coming back into view. So this is the very northern edge of downtown. All the big office towers of the financial district and the CN Tower are several kilometers to the south of here. A good 45-minute walk or so. Joseph Tough Park. I don't think I've ever noticed this before. Let's go hang out in Tough Park. No wimps allowed. Avenue Diner since 1944. Nice classic sign there. I wonder if the lights still work. It's so named because this is Avenue Road right here. Avenue Road is a very busy, wide thoroughfare. It goes all the way up to Highway 401 in North York. It does have some stretches that are much more quiet and walkable though, with some retail areas as well. And many of these old townhouses on this stretch of Davenport are now art galleries and upscale shops, because we're now at the northern edge of the Yorkville neighborhood, which is known for high-end shopping. Hazelton Avenue just across the street will take you down into the heart of Yorkville. The Rosen Group Private Wealth Management. You know you're in an upscale neighborhood when. For some reason my camera just randomly stopped recording, so luckily I noticed that. I just instantly turned it back on again. So as you can see, Davenport Road does not adhere to the grid pattern that most streets in downtown Toronto do. It sort of curves and weaves its way, cutting through the grid at unusual angles. Some very upscale apartment buildings all around this area as well. Taller ones. This could be considered the Yorkville neighborhood now. Now we're getting a look straight down Bay Street. Bay Street begins right here, where it branches off of Davenport Road. And that's a long, major north-south thoroughfare cutting through the core of the city with many of the tallest buildings, including through the heart of the financial district, where it ends at Lake Ontario in the South Core. And pretty soon Davenport Road itself will end at Yonge Street. And approaching Yonge. It's a happy looking dog. Not sure what's happening over here. There's all sorts of fire. Oh, there's a fire right here. Oh, look at that. Let me see if I can get across the street. I hope no one is trapped inside or no one gets injured. Hopefully they'll be able to knock this down pretty quick. Seems like they're up inside the unit by the looks of it. Seems to me they might have it under control. Well, let's hope anyway. But I'm going to start to wrap up the video because I can see my battery is very close to dying here. Yeah, it seems the smoke is really diminishing now. Well, let's hope no one was injured and that damage to the neighboring units was kept to a minimum. So this is Yonge Street right here, so this is where I'm going to wrap things up. I hope you enjoyed the walk around the northern part of downtown, where we walked mainly along St. George Street, looking at some of the many apartment buildings, including my apartment twin, and then along Davenport Road down here into the Yorkville neighborhood, with a little bit of firefighting in action at the very end there. So leave a comment down below if you enjoyed the walk, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also be sure to hit the notification bell, that way you won't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store. And there's also a super thanks button right down below if you'd like to support the channel that way. And you can find me on Instagram also under K Continuum. So thanks for watching, and be sure to keep checking back because, as always, I will continue.